let's talk about The Creator. The Creator
I
is a movie. When I first heard about the title, I was like, oh, it's one of those very generic one or two word title sci-fi
mhm.
movies where you can either get something that's incredibly amazing, like Interstellar, or you can get something like Moon, which I personally did not like, or Armageddon, which was terrible. Like so it's like The Creator is I first heard about it and I didn't want to. I was like, okay, I don't know if this is gonna be good at all, especially in a year where we're getting all these movies about
Mhm.
AI. I was like, another movie about AI, like because most people missed the mark. Even Mission Impossible, like what was it? What's the one from this year? Mission Impossible
5.
Dead Reckoning
Yeah.
Part One, right? Like so,
Or is it like
even
8? I
that
don't even know.
it's a seventh one, I think, and it had a huge the big evil
Yeah.
antagonist was AI, and I think it hit the mark on a few levels, but then it also kind of made it a MacGuffin, and it wasn't quite done as well as I think. Like it wasn't a thinking man's AI movie. It was at the end of the day, you're there to watch Tom Cruise do stunts, and
Yeah.
whatever helps us get you there, we will get you there. Whereas The Creator feels like it's actually putting a moral dilemma at the center of the
Mhm.
movie. And then since I've been watching the trailers, the best thing I can compare it to, and this is something that I'm not the only one making these comparisons. I feel like at least from the trailers, it looks like a cross between Blade Runner, the Terminator Judgment Day, and then a little bit of Rogue One, which Gareth Edwards, the director of
Mm.
The Creator,
Yeah.
also directed. He
I
directed
loved
Rogue
Rogue
One and
One.
Godzilla. So that to me like looks. I saw the trailer again today when I went to see
Yeah.
Expendables and Dumb Money, and it looks good. And
The
there's certain
first
moments in
looks
this.
and the first look reviews are really
Yeah,
good. People are calling this the best sci-fi movie of all time, which is huge because
that's big
Dune
praise.
was supposed to be the
Dune
best sci-fi
part.
book and movie of all time. So, I mean,
Yeah.
that's some pretty. Do you want to read some of these first look comments that you put through?
Absolutely. Let me. So here's one from Cine Express, Fico Kengiano. He said, or is it a he or she? I don't know
We don't know.
what Fico. But
We
anyway, like
don't know. We don't
the
care. It's fine.
here's what they said. They said, been looking forward to the next great epic sci-fi film, and The Creator definitely nabs that title. And like you mentioned, they might have been referencing Dune or
Yeah.
any of these other sci-fi movies that are set to come out. So and then he continues, or he or she continues. Gareth Edwards' nifty exploration of AI, war, and life itself is a big screen spectacle that delivers on thrills, mind, and heart.
Love
And I can tell you that's a pretty accurate description of the trailers. That's
Oh,
exactly what the
okay.
trailers.
That's
And John David
good.
Washington, like who did Tenet with Christopher Nolan, seems to be at least seemingly carving a nice niche out of like doing these big high concept sci-fi movies where he's like this outsider soldier kind of a character, because I see a lot of parallels between the character he played in Tenet, at least
Mhm.
without having seen The Creator. His character in Tenet and The Creator seem very similar,
Similar.
at least in terms of what their modus operandi might be, although the journey seems like it's very different. Another one. So this is from Steven Weintraub from Collider.
Mhm.
I'm sure you might have seen Collider content. They've been around for a long time. And so he said, as you learn about the way Gareth Edwards made The Creator, you'll understand how it's a revolution in sci-fi filmmaking. I'm blown away. And I think he's referencing to some behind the scenes stuff in terms of the filmmaking techniques that they use, because there's some really big action set pieces in this movie.
Mhm.
And if you look at the trailer, it looks magnificent. The effects, I mean, ILM did a lot of the big effects. I'm sure there's a lot of other visual effects houses that worked on this, but it looks amazing. Like, and it's very easy for these kind of big sci-fi spectacle movies to kind of become just visual mishmash.
Yeah.
But this movie, at least from the trailers, looks like there's purpose to everything in every shot composition. And so visually it's stunning, which is another one of the things that a lot of people are saying, that this movie is visually stunning. It's cinematic, it's breathtaking.
Ooh, I'm
I've seen that.
excited.
And then about
I think I'm gonna go see it when it opens on Thursday.
Yeah, and this is so, and as far as the story goes, because I know that's the big thing for a lot of people these days
Yeah.
is, as it should be, what is the story about? Is it actually a good story, or is it just a lot of beautiful shots
Yeah.
and that's it? So Tessa Smith from Mama's Geeky said the story is really emotional too. I was completely captivated pretty early on. But actually, no, did I? I jumped
Yeah.
into Oh, sorry. I thought I jumped into a different review. I'm like
Mm-mm.
mixing up my review. So the story is really emotional too. I was completely captivated pretty early on. Alfie is adorable. I think Alfie is like the human looking android child
Mm.
character in this movie, which I think is like the crux. I think it really revolves, the story revolves around her character. And then so Tessa continues, I totally fell in love with her, love the important underlying themes of accepting those who are different from you, which is a theme that you see in a lot of movies. I mean, the
Yeah.
whole concept of the X-Men is basically that. So to be able to tackle a theme that's been tackled a million times before in a way that's uniquely different, I think it's hard enough to do by itself. And then Germaine Lucier from IO9 said, my main problem is it didn't make me cry. It
This is my
tries
favorite review.
very hard, but a tiny lack of connection means it just misses being a perfect package, but only just.
Yeah.
And that was probably the most negative comment that I found. And for the most negative comment to be like, it just didn't make me cry. I'm like, dude, like everybody has a different threshold for what makes them cry or like really get to that level of emotional connection with the movie. Because every, the movie is subjective.
Yeah.
It's so if that's the worst that a first reaction can say about this film, then I'm pretty, gosh darn excited about it because
Yeah.
the trailer looks fantastic and these reactions, they're the kind of reactions that I remember reading for Interstellar, which was meant to be like the next great sci-fi operatic masterpiece that was meant to rival 2001: A Space Odyssey. And I feel like, at least for me personally, it's a better movie than a 2001: A Space Odyssey. And if this is like that next big leap forward in the world of sci-fi, well, let's see. We've got Christopher Nolan, who did Interstellar, who's done Inception. We've got Denis Villeneuve, who did Blade Runner 2049. He's doing the Dune movies. But outside of those two directors, I really don't think there's any other director today. Well, he's making Napoleon right now. Why am I forgetting his name? Even Ridley Scott, the Alien movies. Even Ridley Scott isn't really quite doing sci-fi the way, like, I think his best sci-fi movies are decades behind him. And James Cameron and Avatar you can kind of put off into its own category because like it seems like those movies are sort of their own thing. But outside of like Christopher Nolan and Denis Villeneuve, I feel like if Gareth Edwards hits here with the creator, then he comes onto that very exclusive list of absolutely top tier sci-fi directors because now he will have the creator, Rogue One, and Godzilla on his list. And I think both Rogue One and Godzilla. Rogue One is probably, in my opinion, the best Star Wars movie
It's my
of
favorite.
the modern Disney era.
Yeah,
it's
so
the
good.
best of. And even though in that movie they had to bring in, I think it was not Tony Scott. Is it Tony Scott's brother? Like they had to bring in another director to kind of help put it together. Like it was a bit of a like it wasn't exactly the most stable production process. So I know that you could maybe put a bit of an asterisk next to Gareth Edwards' name with that movie. Tony Gilroy, I'm forgetting the name of Tony Gilroy, who also did the whole Andor show, which is fantastic. But Godzilla, I mean, Gareth Edwards did a fantastic job of taking a franchise that quite frankly could be very goofy and has been for decades, and then there's been on the other end of the spectrum this very gory Godzilla, and then the one that we got from Gareth Edwards, and it felt like a very, very entertaining, realistic, and like this Godzilla, you can imagine that version of the monster, actually being real.
What version is that? I actually don't.
It's the one that's in the current Monsters universe continuity. So the one that we saw with the Kong movies. It's the same Godzilla so it's the same continuity, like the same story.
I don't know if I've
Yeah.
seen that one.
It's the one from like 2014 or something. I think Aaron Taylor Johnson was in it, and then Elizabeth Olsen, which actually kind of ironic because that movie came out around the same time as Avengers: Age of Ultron, and in Avengers: Age of Ultron, Elizabeth Olsen and Aaron Taylor Johnson are playing siblings, and then in that movie they're playing like husband and wife, and it came out like
they had a lot of bonding time. Phenomenal.
Yeah. Yep. But anyhow, I mean, Gareth Edwards, I think, is one big reason why I want to go see this movie because his track record speaks well to me because of those other two movies that I've mentioned. John David Washington is a fantastic up-and-coming actor. Gemma Chan is in this movie. Of course, she's been brilliant. She's Crazy Rich Asian. She was in what was it called? The Marvel movie. It starts with the Eternals. Yeah, she was in Eternals. Like, I was going to say Elementals, but that's something different. So, and what really gets me about this movie is when you watch the trailer, there's that sequence where like the girl Alfie, the AI android human looking girl, They'd show up to, I think, like where Gemma Chan's character apparently works at a bar or a restaurant, and she's like, I just want to be treated like everyone else. And she's like, well, we don't have something to that effect. We don't have that. We do have ice cream. And it's the most, I'm probably butchering that whole scene, but if you watch that scene in the trailer, that's like, that to me is what sold this movie, not the big action and everything else. It was just because I think the heart of the story has to sell well,
Yeah,
because otherwise no
absolutely.
good
Or there's
sci-fi
no
is
connection.
good
Yeah.
if there's no emotional connection. So yeah,
Well, I don't
I'm
know. I
looking
don't know
forward
if
to
I've
it.
seen the trailer, but I'm definitely gonna go check it out. I mean, you guys definitely let us know. Are you excited to see it? It's just coming out this week. Is it coming out? I think it's coming out Thursday night, right?
It's
It's premiering.
Yeah, you can go to previews as early as Thursday.
Perfect.
Depending on where you live, you might be able to do like an even earlier screening on like a Tuesday or Wednesday. They've been doing that recently for a lot of
Yeah.
big movies, so you can get like an early fan screening.
Yeah.
It's only a few days away. It's coming up soon. I've been waiting for it for weeks. I was talking about this movie 2 weeks ago. We were talking about like, man, we have to go watch Expendables first. Fine, but like now it's time to go watch The Creator, and I'm
Yeah.
really really excited to go see it.
Awesome. Definitely let us know if you guys are going to go see it. Remember always to like, share, subscribe, and comment what you think about it. What are you excited about? Are you not excited about it? Let us know. We always like to hear from you guys. Yeah. Thanks, Dan.
Yeah. Thank you. This has been
Yeah.
fantastic. Another great week of talking about the movies.
We love it.
Of course, guys, also curious, we are all about the love of movies. Go watch The Creator. Go watch Dumb Money if you'd like, or if you want. If The Expendables is your kind of movie, then go check that out and let us know what you think. Have an amazing, fantastic week ahead. Stay curious, and we'll see you back here next week talking about The Creator and so much more. Until next time, have a great week ahead.
Bye, guys.